Hey guys, this is T, and you're listening to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix with Gar and Josh. Enjoy the show, and remember, stonks do go up.
Unless you got crypto, in which case that shit is going down. It is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, 8 p.m. sharp. It is a winter wonderland outside for me, and I don't like it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by your other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hello, folks.
That was very good, Josh. That was very, very good. Don't forget about the beautiful Discord we have where people can chat along with us all the live long day about football and other stuff. We talked about Black Panther Wakanda Forever as well recently. Great flick. I'd recommend go seeing it. The segment start times are down in the description below per usual. And, thank you at Levi Oki Illustration for all the beautiful art the people can see out there. Josh, how we darn.
And how are you, Gar?
I'm today for whatever reason was a sad day. Nothing happened, like no one's dead or no one, nothing tragic happened, but I don't know, today was just a sad day for no real good reason, but it's okay to not be okay sometimes. How about you, Josh, though? Didn't you had a bit of a dust up? A child?
I do have a child. So like I mentioned, I didn't know if I was going to make it up because kind of rough few days, Sunday night. Asher, most of the day, Saturday and Sunday, Asher not feeling so hot, coughing, difficulty breathing. And so RSV is going around, and it's one of those diseases where it's an acronym, so who knows. But it's
so made up by the government.
Yep. Probably from that vaccine that they, aerate all over the car ops outside our house.
Fuck fun.
Yep, but no, so he was having a hard time breathing, and he had only one wet diaper, so we knew he was dehydrated, and we couldn't get him to drink any liquids. And for a 1-year-old, that's not a good thing. They need to have pee-pee and poo-poo. So we called the triage nurse. They said bring him into the ER. They'll if it's bad enough, because they want to make sure his oxygen levels are okay, so there's no risk of damaging his organs or his brain or anything. And things were good, so we're happy about that, but he's just not feeling it. So it's like crud in his chest. You can hear it rattling around. He can't sleep. I was up with him from 1 to 3:30 last night, just trying to get him to eat or drink something because he was fussy. But we also found out he has fungus in his mouth, thrush, which is a common thing. They kind of go hand in hand. So it hurts to eat. It hurts to drink. He doesn't feel good, so he already doesn't eat or drink. So it's just like, you know what? Kids, man.
The joy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Is parenting everything you wanted it to be so far?
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's still pretty cool. But he is doing better. So for those of you listener wondering how he's doing, he's doing fine.
Micah's got a couple kids.
He'll probably return to the mines sometime next week, though.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. All the time off he's already had this year has just been, how's he going to feed his family?
Right? I'm starving.
All right. Well, as always, I didn't mean to shit on parenting. I don't think it came across that way, but always sorry to hear when the little man's struggling. But we can move on to some later topics here. We can get into the Gars Grinder and whatnot. Let's have ourselves a show here, Josh. Gars Grinder this week, Josh. We have we're going with a defensive player. Almost always I'm picking players with fantasy implications and this and that because we're a fantasy football show and that's what we care about the most. We also it's who gets the most credits, who gets all the sexy lines and this and that. But this week's Gars Grinder is going to be linebacker Devin White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you woke up 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and you were watching the Geno Germany ship go down, Devin White was a big part of that. He had 9 tackles, 3 QB hits, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. So Devin White was flying around the field, punching Seahawks in the mouth over and over again. And, he was a big pivotal piece of Buccaneers coming away with a win in Germany. Tom Brady, 4-0 in international games, but stealing this joke from someone else, he's 0-1 with international women. So you win some, you lose some, pal. You watch any of that 8:30 game?
I did. I watched majority of it. I remember putting in the Discord that Germany Geno is no bueno. So that's the best German that I know.
Who's the worst German you know?
I don't know. I'm German, so myself.
Love it.
But yeah, Devin White was somebody I don't know if they do it on purpose or not, but they, for whatever reason, they seem to always bring up that he's someone that they need to get going. They talk about his hustle. He needs to hustle more. I hear that every week, but it's always right after he makes a big play, right after he does something good. And it's just like, all right, so when is this going to stop? But, oh well.
Haters going to hate, Josh.
Yeah.
All right, you want to rant?
I'm surprised it wasn't, I'm surprised he didn't put Christian, Randy Moss, Watson.
Nah, we see Bisons are flash in the pan. Just wait. He'll be garbage next year. If Carson's any indication.
He's garbage this year. Carson has a Super Bowl, though.
It's true. All right, you want to rant and rave, Josh?
I'll let you go first. I got to kind of clear my throat.
All right. So, I would like to set the record straight on some items. Not that anyone's really asked me to. No one gives a shit about my football takes, really. But, I've been calling the Vikings frauds over and over again. And, of course, when I'm brave enough to actually put my neck out there and have some takes, people are always going to attack me when I'm wrong, which is convenient. I don't sit there and celebrate my victories too often. Obviously do sometimes. But, I just still, as of today, I still don't think the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. They are capable of winning the Super Bowl, but I still think the Bills are a better team than the Vikings. I don't know that too many people are going to dispute me on that. A lot of people, no one's really come at me for Cousins because anyone who knows me knows that I've been a founding member of the Cousin condos. The moment we traded for him, I was like, all right, I like the move. And I think Kirk Cousins is a Super Bowl capable quarterback. Not that, certainly the best path to the Super Bowl is an elite quarterback on a rookie contract. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. That's the best strategy. Josh Allen potentially on his way. Although he might have just got Micah. No, he might have just got his second deal. I don't remember. Anyways, but that's not the only path. Joe Flacco's made it to the Super Bowl. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo make it to the Super Bowl. Or did he make it to the Super Bowl? Yeah, he made it to the Super Bowl, didn't he? Either way. So you don't need an elite quarterback. That's not the only way to make it to the Super Bowl. So Kirk Cousins is within the caliber of making it there. He just needs some, supporting elite talent around him, the folks like Dalvin Cook and whatnot. I think this Vikings team is capable of winning the Super Bowl. I still don't think we will this year. So I'd like to set the record straight on that. I've always been a fan of Cousins and this and that. But also, though, I would like to, as happy as everyone is, that the Vikings are winning a lot, and 8-1 is amazing, Josh. It feels good. So as much as we love Team Camcock, that's Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, and it was time to move on from Zim and Rick. I can clearly see that now, just based on how this team has been able to turn around in 1 year. But let's not pretend that Team Camcock is not standing on the shoulders of Zim and Rick. Pretty much all of your favorite Vikings players are, Rick draft picks or signings. We got Cook, Jefferson, O'Neal, Darisaw, Smith, Kendricks, Hunter. Those guys are all slick Rick picks. Zim didn't want Kirk, but Rick slicked it. So Kirk, that was another Rick Spielman signing. Patrick Peterson, P2, the hero of yesterday's game. He was, he came here because of Zim. He made that very vocal. So who knows if P2 was even here yesterday, if not for Zimmer being a coach of the team. And you remember when Kirk came here first and he was Kirky Fumbles? That was, oh God, what do we got here from Micah? Oh, okay. He's just pushing the button randomly on Discord. Okay. But yeah, remember Kirky fumbles? Everyone was giving Kirk shit about he fumbled all the time. Yeah, Zim fixed that. So if we win the big one, Zim and Rick deserve honorary rings. I still hold that the Vikings are frauds as in they're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they are capable of winning the Super Bowl. They have been capable of winning the Super Bowl for the last couple of years. This year isn't significantly different than the last couple of years other than a record, of course, but the team is very similar. So, that's all I have to say. That's my rant. That's my rave. Skol Vikes, but also Bills are still a better team, and I stand by that.
Very nice. That was a very nice rant and rave. I will say that while the Zim and Rick had a lot to do with getting the players there, but they just seemed to not know what to do with them when they got them. Sure, they had some success, but McCarthy came in McCarthy left it with a 6-9-1 record. Previous year was 7-9. And then not much change other than bringing in Cutie Pie LaFleur. And then it was back-to-back 13-3 seasons. So Zim's old school style of run might have worked at the start, but it didn't necessarily pan out over the years. And obviously, long tenured head coaches aren't a thing really anymore. You see a
Zim
few,
had
but
8 years.
but yeah, so you see a few, but there's not a whole lot that stay in one place for a super long time. So that is something that is to keep into consideration. Are the Packers back? Short answer is yes. Some of the reasons. I don't know if you know this, Gar, but in that last game, Aaron Rodgers passed Eddie Lacy for the 11th most rush yards in Green Bay history. So it's a historic season. It's a historic season already. So they just got to keep on adding to that. There were 2 A. Rodgers on the team. And with the Energy Crouton power arc that Rodgers has in the locker room, it focuses on A. Rodgers. And having 2 of them kind of distributed the power unevenly around the locker room. So they had to get rid of that second A. Rodgers. Now that there's power being restored, there's additional power for the quarterback known as Aaron Rodgers. And that Energy Crouton power arc can function properly. So no, Amari Rodgers is good for the team. And then just a little bit of a stab at Cowboys fans, because we all know that they're jean short wearing, high top fade cuts, silly jerseys from the 90s. They're just bad people. They're 195-1 when leading by 14 in the fourth quarter. You're welcome, America. Green Bay Packers, are they back? Super Bowl champions? Yes, they are. Back-to-back-to-back-to-back champions.
I thought the Packers were dead. You said that multiple weeks. In fact, the note sheet for this week, in our notes, it says the Green Bay Packers story to first overall. Isn't what's happened? Just one game? That's all it takes?
Well, I mean, first overall in the league.
You're so stupid.
No, I mean, they're dead. But, if they somehow squeak out a win against Tennessee, you might see Josh with a little bit more pep in his step. But if they make the playoffs, it's going to be one of those years where it's just like, let's play spoiler. You might be able to channel some of that 2010 magic, but let's just play spoiler. Let's go in there and be the Philadelphia Eagles to the Minnesota Vikings.
Sure. I mean, if that's what you got to do, let the record show. I never once declared the Packers dead, and at this point, I still have a firm belief they'll probably be the wild card because the divisions are suckers. All right, ready to move on, Josh?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I did see an article that said that Minnesota Vikings are by far the worst 8-1 team according to DVOA.
I'm shocked.
It's another one of those acronyms that just probably doesn't need to be there, but some people hold true to the DVOA of things, and so worst 8-1 team of all time. Take that how you want.
Well, that's fine.
What's your salty grain looking like?
My salted grain. Josh, we came in pretty sweet this week, honestly. I went 7-1 in all the leagues I'm counting, my head-to-head. That puts me 38-42 overall, so still below 500. Still alive in Brad's Guillotine League, so that's good. But 7-1's good after going 1-7 last week. Still an absolute fraud. Still fucking stink in pretty much every league. If I were to play every team every week using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I would be 405-478, which is I'm batting a 4.59 there. So terrible in terms of fantasy. Still pretty good in the BSB league, but I haven't had the high score a single week yet, and Mika has mostly held me down there. So fuck you, Mika, as you're listening live from Western Australia. So I probably won't win that championship. Mika will probably win again, but that's the only team I have that's good this year, so I have to just keep riding it out. How about you, Josh? How salty are you this week, pal?
I'm pretty salty.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got technically 2 wins, I guess, since we're doing the double headers, but my only win was in the Hidden Oaks Redraft League, and it wasn't just a win, it was an absolute curb stomping. I lost in everything else, though, so 2-4 on the week. It was a rough week. I mean, I had the highest score the second highest score in the Dynasty League, played Connor, he had the highest score. Had the highest score in the redraft league, I guess, which was nice. But the only league in which I actually kind of dropped the ball was Deflate These Balls. Otherwise, I would have had an over 500 record against players.
Gotta pump that shit up, dude.
That kind of stinks. But right now, I'm 40-20 on the year for a 66.6 repeating win percentage. If using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I am 345-205 for 62.73. Okay. Still pretty much kicking tushy in the Dynasty League, though, 81%.
All right. So I mean, you think your prospects for the rest of the year, you're still looking pretty hot. 4 weeks until the playoffs in pretty much every league.
Yes and no. I'm a little concerned about the starting of 5-0 in Victoria's Secret and then going 1-4 in the next 5. But bye weeks happened, injuries happened. Hopefully, I could squeak out a couple wins to secure a spot and see what happens. But I know for a fact that Hidden Oaks Redraft League, I'm going to get absolutely screwed in round 1 or 2, depending on if I get the bye or not. Blood, sweat, and beers, I'm not making the playoffs because my team is an absolute fraud. Deflate these balls. This might be the first year I ever make the playoffs in that league, but I doubt it. So, yeah. I'll probably end up in the playoffs in 2 leagues and then drunk the rest of the playoffs.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Still a lot can happen in these next couple of weeks. You could rattle off some wins. You could get a key waiver wire pickup. Your most severe opponents could take an injury. Who knows? But all right, Josh. I'll do the FanDuel. Exactly.
Well, for the waiver wire ads. Yeah.
Right. Be making a big impact. What, 3-4 weeks in a row now? 3 weeks in a row. He's had like 40 points.
Yeah, I picked him up as a Justin Herbert bye week replacement against you, more as a meme than anything.
And now Justin Herbert's getting cut or what?
No, Justin Herbert's just, he's handing out water. He's got, his mom knows where to get the orange slices.
Clipboard Jesus.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll do the FanDuel top 3 here real quick because we're not doing the Hoodlines in a traditional way today. FanDuel top 3 for fantasy points. Justin Fields, the aforementioned, 40.38 points. He still continues to light it up. He was playing the Detroit defense, so that obviously helped a bit. CD Lamb put up 32.5, and then Patrick Mahomes put up 32.14 in FanDuel. The top 3 values, Christian Watson. Josh, you told people to pick him, and you didn't even pick him yourself. He was the best value 5.7 times. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. It was a 5.0 times value, and then Justin Fields a 4.9 times value. The top 3 weekly totals, Walters won the week with a 152.18. Nikita Mitchell shot at Girl Power 148.78, and then Skybusters himself, the greatest sponsor in the world, 148.28. So nipping on Nikita's heels. Top 3 on the leaderboard, though, Mihoff still up top. We are now at 12 weeks, so we might start to see these be more static now that people are just trying to beat their other scores because not everyone, but a lot of people have their 10 scores by now. But anyways, Mihoff is at the top with 1,235.16. Walters in second with a very flat 1,226. So I was surprised not to see a decimal there. And then Nikita Mitchell with that 148, she thrust herself up into the money and into the third. She's currently sitting at 1,208.32. So I mean, still 8 weeks left to go for this competition. But Nikita, as it sits today, is currently getting her $10 back. So that's more than nothing.
Yeah. I think it's funny because she, second highest score, but she had, I think, like Jerry Jeudy got hurt on one of the first drives, and then her other receiver was Lazard. So she literally got 6 points out of 2 players and still got that high of a score. So good for her there. She at like 11:50 on Sunday, she was like in the kitchen. I go, "Did you say your FanDuel?" And she goes, "Uh-oh." So she just went through and she basically went pick. And at like 11:55, she was still kind of picking or debating on some things. And I go, you better hurry. So I'm just standing over her shoulder. You better hurry. Giving her a hard time. And I wish I wouldn't have done that. Maybe I would have had third.
All right. So you're saying Nikita's going to win the whole thing? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think 148.78 is her floor. She's gonna get like 150 plus the remaining weeks.
All right, Josh. Let's move on then to the Hoodlines again. Not special. We're not doing the music a bit this time. We're not gonna, I didn't actually write Hoodlines. Neither of us did. But go ahead and give us the beautiful Skybusters intro, anyways, because he deserves it.
Welcome to the Hoodlines, brought to you by Brian's Busters of the Sky. Skybusters.
Pew, 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 pew. All right, Josh. I
like to imagine my Skybusters rocking a tuxedo T-shirt, sitting first row in a Skinner concert.
And I'm hammered drunk. Josh, you were the high score this week again. Kind of break down what it took, because I believe you played Hammer. So Hammer's got to like the new rule. Hammer had a bad beat. He was the second highest score of the week, I'm pretty sure. If not the third highest score of the week. But Hammer takes a bad beat, but you dominated like 172 or something like that. Talk about your win. Talk about your players.
Yeah, well, pregame it was just a typical pep talk. Gave him a little bit of a speech about how um, government, microchips, war in Ukraine, things like that. The usual. It seemed to stick well with some, didn't necessarily. So it happened on Sunday, so a Thursday night game. Patterson didn't get it, so his 3 points kind of held me back. But for the rest of the team, yeah, I mean, CD Lamb really took off with it. He had 38 points in that PPR. He had a tear in his eye as I was talking about the war in the Ukraine and how it affects kind of import export of certain body massage oils. Foster Moreau, he was a ad on Saturday that I was surprised nobody had. Him and Devontae were kind of hugging it out in the corner. There was a candle and like a KFC bucket between them. So I don't know if it was dinner or a breakup or something, but something was going on there. And then, DeAndre, he had a decent game. He was getting his hair checked. But then Justin Fields, yeah, I mean, when I was giving that pregame pep talk to him, he seemed to really take everything to heart. He had a notebook. He flipped the page 3 or 4 times, and when he left it behind afterwards, because he's kind of a forgetful lad, I was looking through it, and he was just writing the same thing over and over again, and that was football. So we know what's on his mind. But yeah, so that's kind of how it went, and suck it, Hammer.
Moving on to the standings again, 4 weeks until the playoffs, so we're getting there. Ruth running up that hill, the Eric Szymanski, your local CPA. He is currently in first place at 15-5, tied with you, Josh, also 15-5, but he's got you in the points for by about 36. Do you think you'll end up in first by the end of the year? Or do you not want to be so brazen the 4 weeks to go?
36 is some bad math.
26. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's got a great team too. So, I mean, if I'm first or second, I don't care. It's going to be fun. I do feel bad. I know if you're going to keep going down the line, Nikita's third, but Cooper Kupp is on IR after surgery. So, although she didn't need him last week, still got a win, even though he got her points, 0.3. But so hopefully the rest of the team can turn it around. I still like our team. It's not, it's better than some of the ones in the league, Jesse. So yeah.
So just to be clear, then, so you're tied for second with Eric. Nikita's in third. Are we going to see a Mitchell household Mega Bowl?
Well, if it is, you might as well just send me the check now. Yeah, just send me the check now.
All right. I think surprising a lot of people. T's in fourth at 13-7. Bradley 12-8, tied with Derek. Derek was in first for a while. He's dropped down to sixth now. These 2 wins and 2 losses in a week can really jar up the standings. Brian the Soul 10-10 in seventh. Right now, those would be your 7 playoff teams, as we do 7-team playoffs because we like to be weird. All the way down at the bottom is Jamie at 5-15. That's a rough existence for her. Looking at the points for real quick, Eric is still up top there. He's got the lead. Josh is in second. Bradley's in third, which is a tough look with Bradley being in fifth rank, but third most points for. Least points for is Jesse. Just broke 1,000 this last week. Jamie with 1,042. Me in third to last. We won't talk about that one. Points against. Derek still has the least points against. He just would have cracked 1,000 points against this week, along with Jeremy and maybe T. And then all the way at the bottom for points against. I have the second most points against, let the record show. But Willie, this is currently Willie's 3rd year in a row having the most points against. I'm surprised the man hasn't quit the league yet.
Yeah, you have the second most points against by 0.9. So it's not like, not like you two or you and Willie are just like, oh, woe is me. Because it looks like Nikita and...
I'm sorry, Josh. Do I have the second most points against?
Yep. It looks like Nikita has the 3rd most points against with 1219.05 to your 1219.95. So very close there. It's just, points for is kind of the difference maker.
Yeah, she scored 150 more points than me. It's a little rough. That's a full week. But that's how things are going. Josh, you might see in the notes here, we have a bit of a controversy with the side bet this week. I'm curious what you think about it. So the side bet was dead weight, and it was supposed to go to the winning team with the starting player with the lowest score. Both Brad and I had a player that scored 0 points. I had Alec Pierce, who was 0 for 2 on targets, didn't have a catch, obviously had 0 points, no rushes, nothing like that. Whereas Bradley also had Mecole Hardman put up 0. The difference between me and Bradley is Mecole Hardman didn't play, whereas Alec Pierce did play. So I don't know if that should be the determining factor or not. If that shouldn't be the determining factor, then it goes off to a tiebreaker. Both and I, Bradley's second lowest scoring player, both had 2 points, and then Bradley had a third player with 2 points. So if we went to a tiebreaker, Bradley would win based on his third lowest scoring player of also 2 points. But if Mecole Hardman doesn't count because he didn't play, then I win the side. But it's only $5. It doesn't really matter, but we can pretend it's controversy and drama. What do you think about it?
I mean, I noticed that he had him in, and I guess like he's in his starting lineup, so technically he is a starter on his team for fantasy purposes.
Correct.
So I do think that should count.
Okay.
I doubt he did it on purpose.
Right. I don't think it was malicious.
Yeah, so it's like. But if he did, I would still count it because it's just like, okay, yeah, if you want to sacrifice the chance to get a win or, 2 wins in this league now, go ahead if you want to win a side bet that bad. But because like you said, it's just $5. But yeah, I think that, I don't know. I mean, the fact that he had the balls to, if he did do it on purpose, he had the balls to do it.
I feel very confident he did not do it on purpose.
Right. Because I don't think he was declared out until either late Saturday or early Sunday.
He could have been like in a 90-minute before when they released an inactives list. I really have no idea. I have no clue when he was ruled out, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that it should count just because we know Brad's not doing it on purpose. Not like me asking if I should bench my defense.
Right. In which case we wouldn't be in your starting lineup, so obviously wouldn't count. But all right, Brad, You've won the side bet. Then another $5 will be coming your way. Not a big deal. All right, so there's the fake.
Send it to him in nickels. Stanley Nichols.
You got it. Moving on to the worthy waivers here, Josh. Anyone you're picking up this week? How much are you spending? 100% of your remaining fab on Christian Watson if you didn't already own him in every single league?
Well, I own him in the deflated league. He's on my taxi squad. Don't own him in any other leagues. I might spend some money on him, but I doubt it. Cole Kmet has already added on a couple leagues because I played against him in 2 or 3. So good job, people. Yes and no. I beat him in 1 league, lost him in the other.
All right. What about Van Jefferson? Cooper Kupp, high ankle sprain, going on IR, at least out 4 weeks. Van Jefferson worth a speculative ad? Or is that offense just trash?
I mean, Van will probably still get more points than Allen Robinson.
Tough.
Yeah. No, I'm avoiding that offense at this point. Kadarius Toney, I feel like he's added it in most leagues already. But he's another one that I was shocked that he had as much usage as he did. I know he was kind of a firecracker in New York, but didn't expect him to gel that well so early on.
All right. I'm trying to look up. So what do you think? Probably Eric Szymanski's best player on his team is Tyreek Hill or Josh Jacobs. Do you think Eric Szymanski would trade me his best player for Van Jefferson? Because he's a Van enthusiast.
You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
All right, lastly, before we move on to the outro and the obituary here, Kadarius Toney. Do you think he was propped up by being the hot new thing in KC and they just wanted him to flash early? So then defenses and defensive schemers and planners and film watchers have to really pay attention to one more player now? Or do you think Kadarius is going to be a sustainable, absolute firecracker?
I think that once they get a little bit more tape on him in that offense, they'll probably figure out his role, be able to take him away. His biggest thing is if he steps in front of like a high-powered fan, he's going to get hurt. So it seems like he's always on that injury report, missing time because of that. So I think that, they kept him in a bubble up until game time. Once they kind of loosen that restriction on him, he might, I don't know, stub his toe on a Lego or something.
Gotcha. All right, we'll move on to the outro here then, folks. I guess, Josh, are you going to try and do obituaries off the top of your head, or do we just skip it this week? Obviously, nothing's written. But...
We'll probably skip it, just because I haven't had time to really think about it. It's been a long week. It hurts to talk right now for some reason. I think I inhaled too much sawdust. But yeah.
All right, at the very least, Josh, say some nice things about Brad. We scraped together that guillotine league. Brad is dead. You don't have to have, something superly formal, not an actual obituary, but the Brad's guillotine league is in existence because of Brad. Say some nice things about Brad, huh?
Yeah. R.I.P. in peace, Brad. Bradley, lock it in. 9/5/22. 11/14/2022.
Say nice things about Brad.
Nice things about Brad. I said it.
You're very literal today.
Yeah. Well, Brad, I had fun playing in your league. Not necessarily a fan of the 0.2 points per rushing attempt. Save that for the Champions League. When you win one to get into the Champions League. But yeah, I appreciate the invite. It was fun. Can't wait to maybe do it again next year.
There you go. Also, Josh, I mean, we don't normally have a lot of live listeners, so let's not pretend like we fucking do, but obviously mainstream, we are such a big item on Tuesday nights. Currently, Donald Trump is announcing his 2024 presidential candidacy, so that's why people aren't listening live. I'm sure people are tuned in. Trump had to steal our primetime spotlight. Do you believe that shit? He couldn't have gone on after us.
I'm sure he just wanted to get. Oh, never mind. It's 8:30, so Biden's probably already in bed. So,
Jesus.
I was just going to say he probably wanted to get it in before. Oh, geez, yeah. Well, maybe he's up for his midnight snack.
All right, geez. Let's just get out of here. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you.
Did South Park call it I don't even remember what they did for the presidential election.
Oh, Mr. Garrison's coming out of retirement though. All right, we'll see everyone Saturday morning. Goodbye. Love you.
All right, bye.
You're back.
I will send you to Jesus.